good to see you. Lots of familiar names. Looks like some new ones as well. If this is your first time, this is the Grow with Cara show. Today we're doing something a little bit different. You know, time and time again I hear generating clients from organic social media, it's a two-step process. It really is, right? First, you attract viewers and followers, but second, you let them know what type of law you practice. So to help you with the first step, attracting viewers and followers, I'm starting this new series. I'm calling it Popular Social Videos. So to give you some inspiration, give you some motivation. So in just 30 minutes today, I'll show you examples of high view Instagram and TikTok videos from successful lawyers on social media, and then I'll analyze the technique they're using. I hope you find this information helpful in broadening your own social reach. For as a general rule, the more widely known you are, the more successful your practice will be. Okay, let's do it.
How to stop a heated argument. Number one, take a step back and ask the question, is this something we have to agree on? The answer you will likely hear is no. And when you do, it automatically brings down the heat, because instead of focusing on convincing the other person, you're now focused on understanding the other person. Number two, if there was ever an emergency brake in an argument, it's this phrase, well, maybe so. It diffuses an argument altogether because it suggests that there is at least a possibility that their way could be the right way. And often that's all they need to hear. And number three, sometimes it's not about what you say, but how you say it. So when somebody starts to raise their voice, resist the temptation to match it. Instead, lower your voice and slow down your words. When you do, they will mirror yours and bring it down. And that's how to stop a heated argument. So try that and follow me. Want to keep somebody from getting defensive? Try this. So the one question during cross-examination that I will not ask, if I can help it, is why. Any question that starts with why. See, why is like a quiz to people's ears, like a test or a challenge, and people don't like to feel like they're being challenged or they have to answer to anybody. You ever had somebody say, why'd you do that? Your gut reaction is to put your wall up, because I wanted to. Well, who are you? I don't got to answer to you. So to keep that wall down, I will ask questions that shift the focus off of them. So I can ask a question that starts with what or how. For example, how did you come to that? What made you do that? How do you feel about that? Questions that start with what or how, that talk about the means or the method, the thinking of how they got there, rather than the exact reason, which you can get the same answer, the same stuff, but it's a very less confrontational way of getting that same information. Try that. Follow me. How to argue like a lawyer, part 10. Occasionally, I have a difficult time knowing exactly where to start or what angle to come from when responding to an argument. So I do this. I just repeat back what they said. It's not hard. I just summarize it, or I might repackage it, rephrase it, and say it back to them. And what I'm doing is telling them that I'm listening to understand, not just listening to respond. Number two, I start listing off the things that we agree on. Now you might be thinking, well, Jefferson, what if I don't agree with anything that they said? Well, think bigger, okay? It can be as simple as, I agree that this subject is important, or I agree that this topic is worth discussing. If you can't agree on the micro, go macro. And number three, I could tell them the things that I learned from listening to them. And you might be thinking, hey, I didn't learn anything, but you did. You did learn something. You learned about them. Maybe not about the topic, but you learned about them. You learned what was important to them. You learned what mattered to them. You learned what things that they wanted to discuss and share with you. That's what you learned. So try that and follow me.
Injury lawyer Jefferson Fisher has done a masterful job of delving deeply into the large and popular topics of argument and conversation. What do they have to do with personal injury, you may ask? As a lawyer, language is your primary tool, so it makes sense that others might look to you for guidance on using it, especially since arguing is what you do for a living. Jefferson has also grasped the important social media lesson of first drawing an audience and second, letting them know what type of law you practice. He had stuck strictly to talking about personal injury. If he had, really only talked about personal injury on social media, his follower count would be a small percentage of the 3 million he currently has on Instagram. Yeah, I said 3 million followers. Lastly, notice that Jefferson begins nearly all of his videos with how to blank, blank, blank. Teaching people how to do something is one of the most popular video categories across nearly every subject.
Do you legally have to tell your boss why you called out of work? Your boss can ask you if you're out for a medical condition, but he cannot ask you what the underlying medical condition specifically is. You don't have to share or reveal anything you don't want to. However, it's in your best interest to share some details to protect you from being fired. If you reveal a legitimate reason, then it will protect you from being fired for calling out. Share this with all your favorite coworkers.
Can your neighbor park in front of your house? There's actually no law in California that says you can't park in front of someone's house, as long as it's not a restricted area or you're not blocking their driveway. Technically, public streets are public and not owned by the homeowner, but it is considered rude if there's other parking spaces available. Does your neighbor park in front of your house?
Can you get in trouble for missing jury duty? Jury duty is a constitutional right, and if you fail to perform your civic duty, you can be held in contempt of court. This is punishable by fine, jail time, or both. Have you served on a jury before?
So I interviewed Nima Romani in November of 2022. In 8 years, he and his partners have built a sizable and fast-growing injury and employment firm of 25 attorneys and 100 support staff, relying heavily on social media for new clients. A large percentage of Nima's social videos deal with everyday law, legal questions people have on a daily basis. Most are unrelated to personal injury, right? So in Nima's words, he says, "We are the equivalent of an orthopedic surgeon who's doing rotator cuff surgery. No one wants to think about getting catastrophically injured and needing to hire a lawyer. But if they do, we want them to think, I've seen Nima, he seems very knowledgeable, he's told me about all these legal things, why don't I give him a call?" It's that trusted legal advisor approach.
Sue for? Well, I think assault, battery, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress against the Dursleys to start.
Against Hogwarts,
Their
against all
insurance
of the...
policy's got to be through the roof. Here's the punitive damages claim against Hogwarts. Year one, don't go into the dark forest. It is off limits. It's dangerous, yo. You could be killed. You three are being sent into the dark forest with an idiot and a dog.
Hey, don't talk about Hagrid like
And
that.
lo and rest in peace, that's awful. But Hagrid ain't exactly equipped to go up against the likes of Voldemort drinking unicorn blood in the dark forest. Harry Potter gets injured as a result. This was a willful, intentional act by Hogwarts faculty and staff for punishment into a danger that they absolutely knew.
Now I have a question for you from a different universe.
Okay.
Who is liable for all the vehicles that the Avengers destroyed?
Oh man, this is kind of funny because being the big nerd that I am as well as a lawyer. So I ran a D&D type campaign in a system called Mutants and Masterminds, and there was a whole separate insurance company that just dealt with superhero and supervillain type damage on this. So Marvel, I think Marvel, particularly I think in the last Ms. Marvel series, there was like some like damage control division. Captain America throws a shield and it bounces off and then sticks into the side of your Toyota Camry. And now you got a big shield indentation there. And after you take the pictures and share it on social media and say, look, my car was damaged by Captain America's shield, you're still left with a damaged car. Now who's responsible for that? Can you sue the Avengers for that? Yes. Yes, you could. For the property damage to your car, assuming you could find Captain America and serve him with a complaint. But again, it's probably a small claims deal depending on the value of the damage to your car. If the Hulk like smashed your car and threw it and stuff, yeah, they are liable for that. And I've so often wondered this. Are there clauses in the insurance policies in the Marvel universe for superhero damage?
Better. Oh, how do you say, do as I say and not as I do?
Do as I say and not as I do. Henceforth, comport your actions in accordance with my verbal directives and refrain from mirroring my actions.
Joel Hegsler and his team members at his personal injury firm have discovered two high-view, legally oriented, unique to them topics. So one, lawsuits around popular movies. Like, what causes of action can Harry Potter include in a lawsuit? Can the Avengers be sued for damaging cars? This is a topic that, you know, will really never go dry and never get old. It's interesting and it's unique. And then number two, plain English to legalese. So ditto for translating popular phrases into legalese, as the possibilities are endless. However, the attraction element in both of Joel's talent for off-the-cuff providing great responses when questions are posed, that ability will keep his topics mostly proprietary. Lastly, notice how verdict and settlement videos and posts are sort of periodically sprinkled in. So these posts remind viewers that the firm handles injury cases. Those nice little reminders peppered throughout can be really helpful.
Keep your credit card receipts because they could be worth a lot of money. My name's Hasib, I'm a lawyer, and these are rights you didn't know you had. If you use a credit card at a store and the receipt that they issued has anything more than the last 4 digits of your credit card number, or they printed the expiration date, they are in violation of a law called FACTA, the Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act. The store issuing the receipt could be liable to you for up to $1,000 for every receipt that they printed with that information. And they would also be responsible to pay your attorney's fees. And now you know, don't just keep your receipts, but also read them. If you're in Illinois, listen up. If you worked at a job that made you scan your fingerprint, your retinal scan, your facial recognition, any of your biometrics to clock into work, out of work for lunch breaks, your job was supposed to get something from you called informed consent. That means your job was required to get you to sign off on some disclosures before getting your fingerprints. And if they failed to do that, your job or your old job could be liable to you for anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 every time you scanned your fingerprints. And this is all made possible by something called the Biometric Information Privacy Act. Call a lawyer. This is happening a lot after COVID. Have you gone to a restaurant and they had no signs, no indication anywhere that they would be charging a 3% surcharge? And the first time you even hear of it is after you get the receipt and realize that you paid this. Businesses are getting sued in class action alleging that this is consumer fraud and illegal. So comment below or reach out. Where have you guys seen this happening?
Obscure laws and regulations that have a monetary element have proven popular for Hasib. As analyzed car crash videos do for injury lawyers, these money-oriented videos have the added benefit of demonstrating Hasib's expertise in consumer law, right? He calls them rights you didn't know you had. Great branding. Notice that Hasib doesn't seek to entertain. No dancing, no funny faces, no costumes. He plays it straight in all his videos, providing education in simple and very straightforward fashion. Being his sort of lawyerly self has not held him back. 450,000 TikTok followers is a massive following for a lawyer.
It's gonna fall again.
Damn! Captain Law, that car didn't hit you. You hit the car. Yes, even though it was her fault for not putting her hair in a bun, and that's what caused the injury, work comp is no fault. So she still has a claim.
All right, see ya.
Love you.
Love you. We'll talk more.
All right. Drive safe.
Yep.
Job, Virginia.
Fuck, Mom. Fuck!
Captain Law, tell that idiot mom of yours we're coming for the house.
So within the personal injury specialty, vehicle accidents are the most popular category of videos. Within this category, dash cam vids will draw more views. So adding your commentary, focusing on who's at fault, is almost guaranteed path to more views. This approach can be extended to other types of accidents, including falls, construction injuries, workers' comp incidents, right? A built-in benefit is the establishment of your expertise as you explain why one or both of the parties are at fault. The silliness used by James, while memorable, it's not necessary for success with accident videos. It's really not. I know several lawyers, I know many lawyers, who are succeeding with a very straightforward, analytical approach when commenting on accidents.
Yep.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
All right, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
I'm a Texas attorney, so anything that I discuss on this TikTok only applies to Texas. I'm just here to send you a friendly reminder that the new girlfriend or the new boyfriend can pick up your child for the possession and access. They can pick up your child for the visitation time. Yep. Check your order. Your order says if the mom or the dad can't be there to pick up the child, they can send a competent adult to pick up your child. Competent adult is either, can be, the new girlfriend or the new boyfriend. Unless you put something in your order saying otherwise. I'm a Texas attorney. You need help? Give me a call. Let me fix it.
Sharika Nicole leans heavily on two approaches in her more popular videos. One, lip syncing over humorous or trending sounds, and two, B-roll footage combined with text. Both approaches lean on her firmly expressing her opinion, which is a lesson worth remembering in its own. So taking a position, pro or con, even if some people will disagree, conveys an image of combativeness, right? Which is what many people expect from their lawyer.
This is a good comment. In the state of California, if you're a non-exempt worker, generally you have to get paid overtime if you work over 8 hours in a day or 40 hours in a week. So let me talk about that. 8 hours in a day. On Monday, you work 12 hours, but on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you work 0 hours. In that work week, you worked 8 hours of regular time and 4 hours of overtime. Now, if you work 12 hours, 12 hours, 12 hours, 0 hours, 12 hours, how many hours is that? 48 hours. So that means on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, you worked 4 hours overtime. So 4, 8, 12, 16, that's all your overtime. But you worked 48 hours in a week. So technically you only worked 8 hours over 40, but you get 4, 8, 12, 16 hours of overtime because each of those days you worked more than 8 hours. Now for this question, if you work over 12 hours in a day, yes, in the state of California, you are required to be paid double time. That means 2 times your normal hourly wage.
It's unspoken, but we do expect you to know it. If you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
I always love seeing these TikToks because I always get to tell y'all it's bullshit. If your employer requires you to show up to work 15 minutes early, then they better pay you for that 15 minutes of time. So you don't work unless you're getting paid or clocked in. Inversely, if you clock out at the end of your shift, don't let your employer keep you there and work for 20, 30 more minutes without paying you. That's illegal.
Answering commonly asked questions is one of the surest routes to success on social media. I'm sure you've heard that before. Start with the questions your prospects and new clients regularly ask, the questions you hear over and over again. Begin by stating the question and then answer concisely in plain English and without hedging, as employment lawyer Adam Juratovic does here. If you have enough followers, you will also receive questions in your comments. Definitely answer those questions. Respond to your comments, both briefly in the comments and then later, potentially in more detail with a follow-up video, a whole separate video. And as the second stitched example illustrated, you can look outside your office in your comments for questions.
What do you do with your one phone call from jail? Remember, these phone calls are recorded, so don't make any statements. I recommend that you call an attorney and ask them to meet you in person. That way, your conversation cannot be used against you. While you're on the phone with your lawyer, still be careful on what you say. Don't tell them what happened, tell them what you're charged with, and ask them when they can meet. Remember, you'll hear them say, Kev's got you covered. What do you do when the cops knock on your door and say they have a warrant? Ask them to slide the warrant under the door. Be sure and read it first and see what it said. Cops can only search areas and objects that are specified in the warrant. For example, if they're searching for a person, they cannot look in drawers. Also check and see if that warrant has the right information. If any information is not correct, you tell them you don't consent to a search. They'll probably insist on coming in anyways. Don't try to fight them. Remember, a warrant doesn't mean you have to answer questions. You always have the right to remain silent. You'll hear them say, Kev's got you covered. Why do officers touch the back of your car during a traffic stop? They do this because of a safety procedure. This puts their fingerprints on the vehicle, proving they were there with it. Just in case the driver tries to flee the scene or something happens to the officer, it ties the officer and that car together. Another reason is to ensure the trunk is closed to prevent a surprise person from coming out of it. Remember, you'll hear them say, Kev's got you covered.
Kevin Kennedy's firm accepts most types of consumer cases, from bankruptcy to Social Security disability and nearly everything in between. And yet most of his videos, especially the high view ones, cover criminal law. That's because with consumers, one, criminal law is the most popular of all the legal specialties. And two, Kevin knows that the first goal in social media is to attract viewers and turn them into followers. Kevin has adopted a distinctive and flashy style that works with his personality and appearance. Grabbing attention is half the challenge on social media when you're competing with daredevils, models, dancers, etc. But don't think that I'm advocating, being someone you're not merely to draw attention to yourself. Not at all. One, it will never work. Inauthenticity is really a recipe for failure on social media. Followers, people will sort of sniff you out right away. But two, and more importantly, it's not necessary. As my previous illustration showed, many lawyers have succeeded on social media with a straightforward approach. No acting, no comedy, no costumes, no flashiness. In my over 100 interviews and all my research, I've uncovered dozens more social topics which are popular with consumers. So I'll be sharing several with you every quarter. You can expect an update like this from me regularly. Hopefully some of the topics will fit your specialty and your interests. And certainly remember, if you want help with your social media, my team and I remotely shoot, edit, and post over 100 videos every week for lawyers. And no, we now also offer AI clone avatar videos of your likeness. So you never have to actually shoot the videos. It's a real time saver. It's unbelievable how good these clone avatars look of our attorneys. So if you're interested, contact me. If you'd like to learn more, I'd love to chat. I just dropped a link in the chat to learn more and to set an appointment with me directly. I hope this was helpful. Until next time, keep marketing. Take care. See you soon. Bye-bye.